Hi there, this is Dimple Mehta, and you are listening to Our Quest. Thank you so much for taking out the time to listen to this. Today, we are going to talk about how to generate passive income streams with the expert about the topic who is here with us today. I welcome to the show Mr. Monish Shah, who is an investment advisor and the owner of Optima Capital here in Dubai, UAE. Monish, through his company, advises people about how to utilize their finance better to gain more strategically and exponentially. Diving straight into it, I am going to shoot my first question directly. First, let us clearly understand what is passive income.
Dimple, passive income is something that you work for in your earlier years and make up a good value, put it up, and create an income for yourself. Remember, work, create a good income source, create a value, invest that somewhere through which you get a continuous flow of income. In simple words, that's passive income.
Does that mean that even passive income requires some amount of work? Because I thought passive income would simply be passive, there is no active work involvement in it. That's what the name suggests. Does that involve work?
Uh, Passive income is income. Now, for example, if I earn 20,000 dirhams and my monthly expenses are 10,000 dirhams, can 10,000 dirhams generate an income for me? No. It could generate 100, 200 dirhams. Would that be enough? No. Passive income is only generated when you have a corpus, you have a huge amount that you invest in, wherein that grows, and from that huge amount you start having money trickling down. But today with my 10,000 I can't make a passive income, so I have to invest on a regular basis till I make a good big corpus. Once I make this big corpus, I can get opening the tap little by little and have droplets coming out. And that is what is passive income. So, for passive income, I would advise youngsters to consider themselves as the source of income. How? Today, you are young, you don't have a corpus, you have yourself. You're the one who's going to generate the passive income. For that, get smart at your work, get more educated in the field that you prefer, you'd like to be into. There's always further education and further learning in whatever professions you are in, so that your income grows. With that income growing, invest that money. Don't spend it. Understand that this is your income and stay to that income. Whatever extra you get, invest it, so that at a later age you can create a healthy, wealthy passive income, because money pulls money. So the moment you invest this money, it's going to generate more money. And for that, you've got to generate more money for yourself. How's that possible? Considering yourself as the source of passive income, work smarter, work harder, work much more technologically qualified, even in your education, whatever further education you need to do it, so that your income increases, your scope of growth increases, you get a higher paycheck or you get a bigger income, and then invest that money for a bigger continuous flowing passive income.
Wow, that was very beautifully said. Which also brings me to the realization that passive income is not just about investing my money. We need to invest in our skills too to be able to generate an active income, which will in turn generate a passive income. Although this also confuses me about my investment decisions because I was under the impression that if I am saving some sort of my money, that is a form of passive income that I'm generating. But it seems like maybe not. Are there some investments which may not generate passive income? Are there investments which are actually not passive income?
Any investment that you make has two choices: open ended or close ended. Open ended is when you can remove it anytime. Close ended is when it's closed till a particular time and you can't remove that money. It's not like your ATM card and you can pull off that money. Now, whenever you have a close ended investment, you're closed. So you can't think about removing it. It stays put, it grows. How much it grows is something that you have to keep a watch. Not necessarily close ended funds grow well, close ended investments grow well, and not necessarily that they don't do well. Similarly, open ended investments. Yes, open ended investments grow very well and also run negatively. Investments of any sort run both the ways. So today, if somebody says, I want to invest into stocks, now that will not create a passive income because there you have a value. Today, the stock is worth 100 dirhams or $100 or 100 rupees. Couple of years down the line, it could be 5,000 rupees. That 100 rupees has become 5,000 rupees. But that doesn't generate an income, that generates a value. What you have to do is liquidate that value, put it into the bank, which will keep giving you an X amount of money. Now, passive income sources, for example, you buy a shop and give it off on rent. Now, how did you buy that shop? Is because of the hard work that you made earlier. You worked hard, you created an extra income. With that income, you bought the shop and you gave the shop on rent. Now, that's giving you continuous passive income. Now, that's a nice form. Like what you said just now, you need to develop your skills. Every person working in their business or working for somebody, they have to remember you have to keep learning, you have to keep getting sharper and smarter. Why? You are your passive income source. If you get smarter, you get a better income. You get a better income, you can create a bigger corpus by investing that little income till it becomes big and creating a value. Now, passive income, you put in the bank, yes, you can get interest, that's passive income. You put into stocks, you get a value, you don't get a passive income. Yes, through stocks there's something called debentures, which give you a coupon, that small interest amounts. They give you dividends, so you have income coming in, but that's not considerable. Then you have Indian mutual funds, which have something called SWP, systematic withdrawal plan. That is a passive income. Here, let me give you an example. Somebody 20 years back invested into Indian mutual funds and decided to remove 1% of that investment every month for parents' expenses. They did that for 20 years. That means they have got 2.4 times their investment already removed. And guess what? During the time that they had invested and were removing 1%, but the market kept going up and down. But long term markets always go up. So your investments forever grow. At the end of 20 years, even after removing 2.4 times the investment, they still had 9 times more than their investment still to be removed in corpus. Can you imagine what a lovely passive income that generated? Because that person had a lump sum to give. So, whenever you, while you're young, you're thinking of passive income, which is a lovely decision. Start working, putting little amounts aside into investments that generate returns better than inflation. For sure, that will give you a healthy passive income and a lovely, comfortable retirement life.
So this clearly says that if I'm buying a small piece of land, that's just an investment, that's not my passive income. If I'm investing in stocks, that's just an investment, that's not a passive income. And even in this case, the example that you shared, that's a long term investment of 20 years. That's a long wait. It cannot be considered as a passive income stream that's helping you on a daily basis because you're waiting for that fund to liquidate at the end of 20 years, right?
No, you have invested the lump sum and you've started creating a passive income the very next month. In this particular case, the very next month, what happens is the moment you put up a corpus, that very month you can start with the passive income. Remember, 100% was invested and 1% was removed every month. So 240% was removed in 20 years. But from the moment you had the lump sum, you put it up, that created a passive income. 1%, 2%, depends on how much you'd like to remove. But that also created a growth. So, do you realize in passive income, put it in such a way that also grows? It's not you just emptying it day by day or month by month, but it's also growing. While you're removing little amount, it keeps growing. Imagine here, that person has put an X amount, removed 1% every month for 20 years, so 240%, but still there was a corpus 9 times more. So it really says you have to learn to create a corpus if you want a retirement income. That's a passive income.
Right. Understood. So, for better clarity, could you please suggest us five passive income stream generating ideas for our listeners?
A shop, give it off on rent. A flat, give it off on rent. You have a business house wherein you sell it off with the condition that I get an X amount of money every month. So you've sold off your business for an X amount of money over and above. They keep paying you a percentage every month. So that's another source of income. So that's another passive income. You have debentures, you have bonds, which keep giving you coupons every month, every 6 months, every quarter, depends on the condition of each investment that you've made. That also has a little bit of money coming in. But the best source of passive income is you yourself. Unless you don't polish your skills, unless you don't get smarter, you won't create a bigger income for yourself, which will not create a bigger corpus to yourself, which will lead to sweating more and more. Remember, money pulls money, or sweat will have to pull money. If you don't start investing much earlier for a bigger corpus, then unfortunately, from the age of 65, you will still have to work. Why? Because you didn't let money pull money. Therefore, sweat will have to pull money. So, income sources is what generates, I've told you, shop, flats, hotels, restaurants, where you give it off on lease and you keep collecting their rents. But the best source is you yourself.
So, just to understand better, there are such business opportunities where you are a part of business and not putting in your sweat and getting passive income, or probably you have sold off a business and still getting a passive income out of it. I wasn't aware.
Today, I know lots of people who started off a business. They're doing so well. There are people ready to buy it and they buy it off. But then they're still there as either a sleeping partner, and they're paid an X amount of money on a monthly basis, even though they're sleeping partners, because they invested their money, they brought the company to a particular height, and now they want to give it away. But because of their knowledge and capability, remember, they sharpened their skills while they were young, they brought it here. So now, only because of that, they are still kept on the board of directors. They are there and they receive an X amount of money every month. So, what is that? But how did that happen? Is because they sharpen themselves. So again, remember, you are your passive source of income in the beginning, in your earlier days. Don't forget that.
In a beautiful manner, probably they are now monetizing their skills and expertise and experience. All of these five seem so simple and achievable. I mean, if I start planning right away, I can probably start saving small chunks of money every month out of my current income and invest in either of the ones suggested by you and have a passive income generated for myself in no span of time. Wonder how many of those and how soon can I start? Actually, how many passive income streams should one have in an ideal scenario?
I would say, the way you said planning, when can a person start? How much should somebody have? I would believe in pronouncing one line very loudly, and that is, if I fail to plan, I plan to fail. And that is a striking quote, because if you want a passive income, as you mentioned just now, yes, you have to start right away. Whatever be your age, if you've thought of passive income, start right away. The longer you take to invest is again possible if you're younger. But today, somebody aged 45 says, I want a passive income in the next 10 years by the time I touch 55, may not get that good an income if the markets haven't really moved that high to somebody who starts at 35. So, as many sources of income that you can generate is not really as important as what is the value of income that you can generate. Today, somebody has invested in a shop, in a flat, into mutual funds, diversified the portfolio. But yes, how did that happen? Because that person created a corpus, invested little by little into mutual funds, invested, took an EMI, took a flat, took a shop, and then put it all out on rent. Mutual funds are creating an SWP, that's a systematic withdrawal plan, systematically. So this is okay. You can have as many as you want without falling under stress and pressure. Somebody's got an income of 10,000, takes a loan of 7,000 because the person wants to create a passive income later age, is not proper stats. You have to understand this is all done while you're long, step by step, drop by drop. Don't try and hasten anything. If you don't have the income source, don't try and risk too much and carry that stress too far, thinking, I want a passive income. For that, sharpen yourself, take up different jobs. Get, while you're young, you can work in lots of places. Create that extra source of income. Don't blow that income. Invest that income so that that can make a shop sometime later, and put it out on rent, make that office, make that shop, make that flat that you need to invest into mutual funds, so you can have as many sources without stress, within your budget, within the amount that you have. That will create as many sources as you want without stress. I know somebody who's just got one source of passive income, but that passive income is huge. With that passive income, this person is investing that extra money again into another corpus. Remember principles that I keep mentioning time and again. Money pulls money, or sweat will have to pull money.
That's just put put me into a lot of thoughts, and I'm going to shoot two questions together at you. Is debt bad? If somebody is taking a loan, is it bad? And the second one is, does that mean investing earlier, starting at a younger age, is better or more beneficial as compared to starting later?
Let's take the first one. Is debt bad? Nope. I would advise, if you can take debt without stress, you've got a salary of 10,000 dirhams. You've got a proposal that's lying because you've got proposals dime a dozen, but your expenses are 6,000. You have 4,000 spare. I would advise that of 4,000 spare, keep 2,000 aside, invest the 2,000. Now, for 2,000, you think you need to take a loan because there's a property there wherein you have to pay 4,000. So you are ready to take a loan of 2,000 dirhams that you've got, for which you are getting a property which 3 4 years down the line will generate something like maybe 2 to 3,000 dirhams a month as a passive income, or as some source of income which will cover up your EMIs also. Then it sounds perfectly all right. Whenever you are into debt, it has always to be for some benefit long term. You can't have yourself into a debt which would walk you down in a very horrible situation. Debts are only taken for investments of growth, not of gambling and not of chances. Oh, this may grow. There are chances 50-50, drop it. There are chances of 60%, drop it. When there are chances of 90 to 100%, only then will you take a loan. So that's the first question answered. Debt is not bad. It all depends on where you are investing that money, on something that grows or something that's a gamble. That choice is yours. And coming back to the second question was, where you said starting early or late, I did mention that somebody who is 45 needs an income at 55. That person will have to invest a lot more than the person who is 35. 35 can invest far lesser, whereas the 45 can invest far, will have to invest far more to create a passive income. So therefore, if the 35 years fellow starts, or whoever starts at 35, will be far, far more comfortable at the age of 55 because they started early. Whereas 45 has to put in a lot of money. Whereas expenses will increase because he would have, or she would have, huge amount of expenses through families, education, etc. And therefore their contributions could be lesser, or their incomes could have gone up because they sharpened their skills so much that the incomes have really shot up, for which then they can cope up beautifully. So, yes, generally people say it's always much better starting off younger. You can contribute lesser and you can be far richer at a very young age. You won't have to wait till 65. You won't have to wait till 55. Possibly by 50, you'll have a huge corpus. But for somebody who starts at 45, yes, they possibly will have to wait for a longer time to really be comfortable. So, yes, the earlier, the better.
So, if I understood it right, debt for expense is not so good, but debt for investment or growth can always be welcome. And starting earlier is always better. With all these information from you, I feel like I should get started with my investments right away. But what passive income stream should a beginner begin with? If I have no clue whatsoever, where should I begin with? And I'm a beginner at it. Let's imagine somebody who's got some significant amount of savings but never invested into a stream which can become a passive income stream. Where should such a person begin from?
To create a passive income is what I said earlier was first, you are the source of income, wherein you get smarter, sharper, your skills are utilized, you get a bigger income, and you get started. And the second source of creating a corpus is s- every month, little by little, invest into mutual funds. Let it be dollars, let it be Indian rupees, let it be whichever currency, whatever is available. Start investing on a regular basis, long term, not short term. Start investing on long term. What will happen is, because it's long term, you'll get the benefit of different times that the markets keep going up and keep going down. You will gain when the markets keep going up and down. You will get it at different prices, and therefore your dollar cost average or your rupee cost average, when the markets go down, you'll get more. When the markets are up, you'll get lesser in purchases. So what happens is, when the markets keep going up long term, you will come out to be such a big winner. You will have so much of money there. Even though you contributed little by little, in 10, 12 years, you will see that grow exponentially. And that's when you'll tap yourself and say, I beg your pardon, I never knew I had so much of money. Thank God I started so early. Thank God I started putting a little bit. Drop by drop fills an ocean. And that's exactly what happens to your investments. Your goal, creating a passive income, your goal for creating a passive income is again to start drop by drop investing for growth. That'll create a passive income for you in later ages. So start now.
So even if I create a source of passive income through mutual funds like you suggested, there still is no shortcut to money. Even for that, I have to wait because it's a long-term game. It's not a shortcut to money.
Absolutely. Whenever people think which is the fastest way to get money, I have got so many people who tell me that I need some money within the next 1 year. I tell them put it in the bank, because anybody coming around and saying I want to make some short-term gains will surely very rarely achieve it. So my advice to everybody is always look at long term. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, the growth also is exponential. But whenever somebody looks at short term, that's the biggest risk you're taking. And therefore, people who are into debts always think very, very long. You've taken money, remember that you're going to be paying the debt interest for very long, but the growth of that investment that you made is going to pay you back many a times. And therefore, taking that debt is worthwhile.
Thank you so much, Monish. Thank you for your time. Thank you for these beautiful advices. That was very informative and educative. I would say it's an eye opener. I'm sure these insights will help our listeners take productive decisions for themselves. For any other queries you may have, feel free to reach out to us through the link shared in the episode description. We would be happy to get you connected to Mr. Monish, who would happily advise you for your investment decisions. That's a wrap for the day. See you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Keep sharing and do let me know your review on this episode.